All right, shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. This is your brother, Priest Kazakya. This video clip is for my urban Christian apologists who attack us when we use Deuteronomy 28 and 68 and say it can't refer to the transatlantic slave trade because it says you would offer yourself, but no one would buy you. So what I want to do, I want to go and look at that NIV version of Deuteronomy 28:68. And then we're going to make a comparison. Okay, so if we go to Deuteronomy 28:68 in the NIV version, let me go all the way back here. It says, and Yah will send you back into ships in Egypt on a journey I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. Now, I don't want to make it an issue of the translation, but I think that's a bad translation because it says you will offer yourselves. Okay. In the King James, it does say you will be sold unto your enemies. But then it says at the second part of that verse, just like it says in the NIV, but no one will buy you. Okay. So if we go to the King James version, it says, you will be sold to your enemies. So King James does say you will be sold, but then it says for bondmen and bondwomen, and no one shall buy you. So which in the sense of the text, that would make it contradictory. So in the NIV, the translation makes it seem like it's not contradictory because it says you will offer yourselves, right? So but they're saying, I want to focus on the second half of that, which is there will be no one to buy you, no man shall buy you, or there will be no buyer, or no one will buy you, right? So I want to look at that word buy, right? That word buy. So let's go back to the King James 28:68. This word buy is the Hebrew word. If we click on that number, it's Hebrews 7069 chana, which means to, if you scroll down here where it says Strong's definitions, it says to a primitive root, to erect, to create, by extension to procure, especially to purchase, by implication to own, right? But that same word was also translated attain, buy, buyer, teach, to keep cattle, get, provoke to jealousy, possess, purchase, recover, redeem, surely, verily. Now, what I'm submitting is that word should have been translated redeem. Why do I believe that? Because in the Hebrew thought process, they comprehended that a Hebrew slave that was sold into slavery to another nation could be bought back or redeemed from the nation and brought back, because that's the redemption part, is being brought back to the land of nativity, right? So let's go to Leviticus 25:48. So if we go back in here and back this up to Leviticus, let's go forward this way because I already kind of have the footnote here somewhere. Okay, so maybe I don't. Okay, let me just see here. Okay, let's go to Leviticus 25. I should say Leviticus 25. Okay, and we're gonna go to Leviticus 25, verse 47 and 48 real quick. Go down here, Leviticus 25:47, and this is the King James. I want to read the NIV, and then we're gonna read the King James version afterwards. So let's go to the NIV, and we're going to pull the same verse up, 25, and what I say, 48. So go down to 47. I want to start at 47. It says, if a foreigner residing among you become rich, and any of you fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to the foreigner or to the member of the foreigner's clan, they retain the right of redemption after they have sold themselves. One of their relatives may redeem them. Okay, so we're talking about that redemption. Now, in the King James, if we go here to the King James version, we're going to see the same thing. Okay, but we're going to see a different word here. So we're going to see in the King James 25, we're going to just read verse 48. Verse 48 says, either his uncle, after he is sold, he may be redeemed again, right? One of his brother may redeem him. See that? So this is the key. Now, what I want to point out is that I'm not saying it's the same Hebrew word. This word here is a different word, right? It's the word gula. Okay, but now the word gula is a different word, but the thought process is there because it's the key that I'm bringing forth is redeem, right? So we're not going to be stuck there because we're going to show you that there was an actual instance where that word redeem was used. So with that said, let's go to Nehemiah, right? 5, right? And we're going to go down to verse 8, right? So it says here, this is the King James. Let's go back to the NIV first, and then we're going to come back to the King James, right? Since my fellow urban apologists like to use the NIV. Okay, so go on for verse 8. It says, and said, as far as read verse 7, I pondered them in my mind and then accused the nobles and officials and told them, you are charging your own people interest. So I called together a large meeting to deal with them and said, as far as possible, we have bought back, underline it, bought back our fellow Jews who were sold to the Gentiles. Now you are selling your own people only for them to be sold back to us. They kept quiet because they could find nothing to say. So the key is that, and I apologize, I didn't have on the screen, but I just want you to see that there. So he said, we have bought back our fellow Jews, right? So that's the key, bought back, right? That bought back, if we go now to the King James Version, we're going to see that bought back, verse 8, is the word redeem. We, after our ability, have redeemed our brethren, the Jews which were sold to the heathens, right? So what did they do when they redeemed the fellow Hebrews, the fellow brothers? They brought them back. And in buying them back, what did they do? They restored them back into their native land. Okay? Now, in the slave days, there were Negro slave owners who bought fellow Negro families to redeem them from slavery, but that redemption was not the redemption that was spoken in this text, because the redemption was for them to be reinstated back to their homeland, the land of nativity. So Deuteronomy 28, as we close, should have been translated as follows. You will offer yourselves to be sold, but no one will redeem you. Okay, because the thought is that they were bought, as we see, but they were not to be redeemed. With that said, I say shalom.